Hello everyone, it's Shangye China here, back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 6 different tech companies in China that are taking the world by surprise and are having lots of innovations, whether it be in AI, whether it be in cloud computing, whether it be within the digital economy, whether it be with the smartphones, the 5G networks. I mean, they're even working on 6G networks now. So today we'll be going into huge detail about that and why the West wants to ban all of these countries from entering their country, and the different things that are happening with like the sanctions from the US and how they're trying to hurt these Chinese companies, but how these Chinese companies are overcoming these sanctions. So actually, the first company that I want to start off in today's video is Deepseek. I'm sure that y'all have heard a bit about Deepseek in the news lately, as I'm sure that y'all have heard about it being like a new startup in China that only had about like 150 to like, I believe, 200 workers on it, versus ChatGPT, which had a few thousand people working on it at one time. As you know, ChatGPT had billions of dollars flowing in, and it started off as a nonprofit with Elon Musk on the team, but then later OpenAI basically went against Elon Musk, and now it's becoming a for-profit company, versus what we see in Deepseek. We see an amazing Chinese company that was started with only $6 million and did not need to use all of the expensive chips that the West is trying to force everybody to use. They were able to use their own chips and do everything for a much cheaper cost. And have, I'll show you all a chart here. Basically, this is a Deepseek chart where basically it's the one in the blue with the dashes in the line. And this is it having like the competition between OpenAI and the other models of DeepSeek and showing like the progress that they've had. And one of the things that's actually pretty ironic and pretty funny about this DeepSeek launch is how they did it right whenever Trump got into office. So I think that this is like a huge message here for the decade on how things are gonna work between U.S. and China relations. The second company that I would like to talk to you all about is Huawei. Obviously, y'all have heard about this in the past several years now. Especially back like in 2018, 2020, whenever that whole situation was going on with Trump sanctioning them and, Canada and them falsely arresting a higher ranking member of Huawei there, which is obviously illegal, but they did it anyways. And Huawei, as we know, it's the leader in the world. It's the number one company in the world whenever it comes to 5G networks, which is huge. And they're working on the 6G networks as well. As you know, that the U.S. banned them from using chips from other countries and using the U.S. chips, so they're building their own chips. They've built the AI-driven chips, which they have used. You look at the cutting-edge smartphones that they have. Their smartphones were banned from using the Android system, so they created their own system. This is how the Chinese are oriented, how they work. It's like, oh, you ban us from using this, we'll make one and we'll make it better. You can look at the International Space System. They're not allowed to use the International Space System, so they made their own. You'll also know like how Huawei is involved in semiconductors and also the AI computing industry as well, and they are all leading on that. And I'll show you like a chart back from 2010 to 2018, where you can see like the rise of Huawei. Where back in 2010 they only had 1.5% of the global smartphone market share, versus in 2018 they had 13%. So that's why the U.S. wanted to ban them, because they were like, oh, this is going to take over Apple, this is going to take over Samsung. So it's very interesting how things have becoming like a very sanctioned type competition instead of like true competition in the U.S. The third company I want to talk to you about is a company that y'all have all used yourself, TikTok. TikTok's an amazing app. You look at every single social media app in the United States. You look at Facebook, you look at YouTube, you look at Instagram, Twitter. All of the apps have learned from TikTok. They've seen like how the short videos work on TikTok, and what they have done is they've copied their system and everything and how it works. Like basically, they've learned from the TikTok system. Like, all right, we see that TikTok works. We said everybody loves the TikTok system. We're going to try it ourselves. They're not as successful as TikTok is with the short video system, but that's why they're trying to ban it, because they like to make a false excuse saying, oh, it has something to do with spying on data. It's like, that's not true whenever you're using U.S. companies to store that data. It has nothing to do with China. And I'll show y'all another chart here for TikTok so y'all can understand why they want to ban it. So you see how it started off in 2017. I mean, it was not even doing as well as any other company. But then you see it like kind of like shooting off over there in 2018, then 2019. Then you see over there in 2020 it overtaking Instagram, and then you see the growth over there in 2021, 2022. I mean, this app was going to take over Facebook for worldwide users in the millions. So I mean, it's billions. I mean, it's amazing. But then you see like the sanctions and like the banning coming through. I mean, it's been tough. The next company I want to talk to you all about is Tencent, or Tengxun in Chinese. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with this company, but y'all should be. As a lot of like the major apps that we use in China, for example, WeChat or QQ, are all made by this company. And I mean, one of the things that I'm sure that a lot of people don't know is that they're the world's largest gaming company. So basically, most of the money that Tencent makes is all from gaming. And a lot of like the gaming companies, even like a lot of the games that we play here in the U.S. or anywhere in the world, are all owned by this company, Tencent. So I mean, if you're like a gamer or anything, I mean, a lot of people really appreciate this company because they've made a lot of games better. They've added a lot of value to our lives. And I mean, whenever it comes like the digital marketing, they're like the digital marketing leader of the world. So I'll show y'all here a chart of like all the companies that they own. As you can see, they have like the WeChat Pay, they have QQ, WeChat, you know, even League of Legends, Fortnite, Clash of Clans. I mean, those are like three of like some of the main games that they own. I mean, they own a lot of games in the industry. I mean, it's billions upon billions of dollars that they're making every year on gaming. So that's another reason why the U.S. is afraid of them. They're like, oh, they want to sanction them. They want to bully them. And it's not going to work. You know, it's the Chinese. The Chinese, they're going to make things better and better. They're not going to be like, oh, you sanctioned us, and we're just going to stop. That's going to give these Chinese companies an even stronger motive to work harder. Again, with us talking about Tencent, they're also huge in the AI field, cloud computing. So it's a very fantastic company. Another company I'd like to talk about here is Alibaba. This one y'all should have heard of. I mean, anyone involved in, let's talk about digital shopping or drop shipping is another big one. Anyone involved in drop shipping knows that, oh, you need to find Alibaba. You can find the product in China. It's a good product, but it's also cheap as well. And they'll take that product and they'll advertise it here in the US and they'll sell it there. So Alibaba's been really big for anyone that drop ships or just like everyone in China as well. I mean, it's basically a good explanation of what Alibaba is it's Amazon plus Google plus PayPal all put into one app. So it's really amazing how it works. Another thing by Alibaba that has been amazing is the Aliyun service, which is their cloud computing, which I'm sure that y'all have heard of, with them having been in the Olympics there in France, and also being involved in some of a lot of major companies in the U.S. have been using their Aliyun service as well. So y'all could research into that as well, which is I think is really big. One of the things I want to show you here is something that y'all can learn about China. Let's talk about the 11/11 Shopping Festival, which happens in China, where you can see back in 2009, the company only got, what would that be, 100 million renminbi in 2009, versus in 2018, that's 193.4 billion renminbi, and that's in one day. That's a single day of sales. That would kind of be like the equivalent of Black Friday here in the United States. Last but not least, another company that I would like to show you guys is BYD, Build Your Dreams. BYD in Chinese. Great company. It helped China become the #1 in the world in EVs. It's an amazing company. I mean, Huawei makes cars now as well. Baidu makes cars now as well. I mean, even Tencent's making cars now as well. A lot of these Chinese companies are all making cars. And they also have a lot of other car companies such as Lixiang, Xiaopeng. So they have a lot of really good car companies out in China. I'm sure that y'all should check that out. And later, I'll be making like a video of me going to like some of like the different car dealerships in China, like showing you all the different cars, like the interiors and exteriors. I mean, they're really, really nice cars. I would like to show you all a chart here. As you can see, like these are passenger EV sales in 2022, and all the ones in red are all Chinese companies, and the ones in blue are basically foreign companies, not necessarily U.S. companies, but are like European brands or U.S. brands as well. As you can see, Tesla over there at 1,314 versus you have China BYD at 1,857. Obviously, these numbers are in the thousands. So as you can see, like these Chinese automakers, I mean, they've been taking over, and I mean, it's amazing. And then you see like the U.S. trying to sanction them, saying like, oh, they're cell phones on wheels, they're spy cars. It's like no, that's not how it works. So I mean, anyone that understands like how cars work, or anybody that understands like how these Chinese vehicles are, you'd be like, wow, they are amazing. Another brand that I didn't bring up is Xiaomi, which is another international brand, which is similar to Huawei, but not exactly the same, where they make phones and stuff. But they've also made a very successful car that also looks very similar. They use the same designer as the Porsche, and it's a very cheap car, but it works very well. And I think that y'all should check that out as well. I can do a video on that too, which is really amazing. All of the different brands that they have here in China, and how basically the West has been trying to sanction them, but it's been unsuccessful. And you know what's kind of ironic here is that we'll see like in China, like the more that you sanction the Chinese companies here, the more successful that they have become. So yeah, it's amazing. But I think that'll end off our video here today. If anybody would like to like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. And another thing is that I would like y'all to go into the comments and leave suggestions on what y'all would like to see in the next video, or if there's any companies that I didn't go over that y'all would like me to go on more in detail, or if there's any other subjects you would like me to go more in detail, I'd be happy to do that. Thank you, and have a good day.